We begin right now at 4 with smoky skies as several fires continue to burn in Calaveras and Tuolumne counties. Live Copter 3 giving us these exclusive live images over what's now being called the TCU September Lightning Complex Fire. It's made up of 12 fires. Some have burned more than 1,000 acres and have had people under evacuation orders since yesterday.
Now, the largest fire remains the 6.5 fire burning on the north side of the Don Pedro Reservoir. 6,800 acres have burned there. Several homes and businesses are gone in the historic town of Chinese Camp. Evacuation orders and warnings are in place.
Some people are also under evacuation orders near the town of Murphys. The 2.7 fire has spread to 591 acres. Evacuation warnings and orders are also in place. Thanks for joining us at 4. I'm Lisa Gonzalez.
And I'm Curtis Ming. We have live team coverage as crews work to contain these fires. Meteorologist Heather Waldman is tracking the conditions outside and the air quality. Maricela de la Cruz is at the fire near Murphys, but we begin with Anahita Jafari, who is near Chinese Camp, a gold rush town now devastated.
I'm in Chinese Camp right now, and we're on Red Hills Road near Main Street. It is devastating out here. It's really hard to put into words what exactly we're looking at because of how much the fire has destroyed this area. I want to show you a couple things right behind me. This looks to be a barbecue or a grill. A lot of items like this that were metal are easier to determine what exactly they are. And if you can kind of walk with me this direction, we see a lot of different things around here that were destroyed by the fire. For example, this chair, you can see a metal outline of it, but the pillowcases burned off. And that is what we're seeing a lot of. Maybe some parts of different buildings standing, but nothing really still fully intact, fully together. Even down here on the ground, you see metal bowls, maybe to feed some type of pet, some type of animal. Like I said, anything metal, you can kind of make up what exactly it is. I want to take you a little bit this way and just show you a broader view of what we're seeing out here. A lot of ash, a lot of rubble. Right up here, we have a pole of some sort, a lot of downed power lines in this area. I want to shift your attention back here on the left side to look at some more chairs. You can see this might have been a home. It might have been a front yard, but it's too difficult to be able to tell what exactly we're looking at. But take a look at the destruction in front of you. You can still even see a lot of smoke in the air, and that's a mixture of some hot spots out here and a lot of smoke still left over from that fire ripping through. One of the first buildings you see when driving into Chinese Camp is the post office, dating back to 1854. The inside was damaged from the fire, and although the building itself was still standing, it was destroyed by the fire. This right here, we don't know what exactly this is we're looking at. We've asked some people in the area, but unless you're from here, it's very difficult to be able to tell. So there are a lot of structures here that are more than 150 years old. You're looking at, a vehicle that's still standing, but other vehicles are completely burned from that fire damage. A stage stop that once served as a hub for mail, food, and supplies in the mid-1800s has turned to rubble from the fire. But thankfully, there were two pieces of history that did survive: an old schoolhouse and the Catholic Church, as well as a cemetery with graves dating back to the gold rush. But out here, we're seeing downed lines, melted cars, power lines that are knocked out. We've also seen a lot of people out here, officials. We've seen CAL FIRE. We've seen the sheriff's office, PG&E. So again, everyone is working really hard to try and clean up those power lines, clean up some of those trees that have fallen down, and make sure it's safe to hopefully at some point have residents come back into the area. We asked CAL FIRE a little bit about that and when people might be able to come back into Chinese Camp, but unfortunately, they said right now there is no timeline. They mainly want to focus on the safety aspect, making sure it's safe for people to return. For now, live in Chinese Camp, I'm Anahita Jafari, KCRA 3 News.
Such devastation. So many of us stopped there on the way to Yosemite. We have memories, childhood memories going through that area. So a lot of people did get out, but have you talked with anybody who actually lives there?
So because the roads are blocked off, people have not been able to make their way inside Chinese camp. We did speak with one woman who we saw had commented on one of our KCRA Facebook posts, and she did tell us that she used to live here a few years ago. She sold her house a few years ago, so she no longer lives here, but she knows a lot of people in the community. Her late husband, as well as his parents, are buried here in the cemetery, and she has a plot in the cemetery where she will one day be in as well. We also talked to her about who she sold her house to. She said there's a woman on Washington Street that she sold that house to that did not evacuate during the fire. I did have a phone call with that woman, and she tells us that she saw those flames, she saw the fire and all of the destruction, and it is very devastating for both of these women. You know, one who hasn't been here in a few years and another who was here during the destruction. We're just so thankful that she wasn't hurt, but we will be going over to her home just here in a few minutes and talking to her a little bit about that, and we'll have some commentary from both of those women later tonight on KCRA.
Yeah, it's all still very traumatic. Even if your house does survive, it's just a lot to deal with and take in. Anahita, thanks for the live report and showing us everything. Here is a look at the latest evacuations that are in place. The area that you see in red, that's stretching from north of Chinese camp where Anahita was all the way south down Old Don Pedro Road, is under an evacuation order right now. The entire area that you see here. People in this area, you need to remain out of the area, but if you're there, you need to leave. Obviously, stay away from the area if you haven't already evacuated. The area farther north in yellow, that's under an evacuation warning. If you're in that yellow area, you should be ready to go at a moment's notice. An evacuation center is open for residents at the Sonora Senior Center on Greenlee Road. They're accepting pets. Now, if you have livestock and other large animals, you can take them to the Mother Lode Fairgrounds on Southgate Drive.
To the north now, we are seeing the damage in Calaveras County. Evacuations there are keeping people from returning home near Vallecito and Murphys.
And KCRA 3's Maricela de la Cruz is live there after touring the area and talking with some of the homeowners today. Maricela, what did they tell you?
Yeah, well, Lisa Curtis, I have to tell you that out here we know that hundreds of acres have already burned in Calaveras County. Now, yesterday, people out here probably saw a lot of smoke in the area. Viewers at home who are watching this live probably saw this area very smoky, and as you can see, it looks completely different. We are still seeing some smoke between the trees. We're seeing some of those hot spots still out here in the area. A lot of crews driving by, and you can also just take a look at the burnt land out here at this time. Now, we know that crews have been out here throughout the day battling the fires that still continue in both counties. They're out here still mopping up the area, and throughout the day we've been driving through this area. We've been speaking to people who stayed behind. One man told me that he stayed at home to protect his cabin, and it miraculously did survive that fire. And I'm saying miraculously because when we got to that area, we saw just how the fire burned around his cabin, and his cabin today was still standing, although he did tell me that a shed and one of his trucks did burn down, but fortunately, again, his cabin is still standing. We also heard today from a man whose cows were being evacuated yesterday. You probably saw some of those images with us on KCRA 3 because we got that video of the cows being evacuated today. The owner of those cows, he tells me that all the cows are accounted for. They are all safe and sound, but he and his wife decided to stay out here to protect their home.
We had sprinklers going at the house. We had all the critters loaded up and all of our valuables loaded up and ready to go, and just turned on all the water we could and pulled everything away from the house that, you know, chairs and stuff that might be flammable. You can hear fire crackling in the background still. But yeah, we just did everything that we've been prepared to do as it relates to wildfires. And you always talk about it, but you never anticipate it actually going to have to do it.
And CAL FIRE also told us that some of the challenges that they're still facing is accessing some of the roads to get into where some of the flames are still active, that steep terrain, which is always very difficult for them. And right now we're still experiencing some of that wind activity. So all of that adds up, and those are some of the challenges that they're still facing. But for now, we're live in Calaveras County. Maricela de la Cruz, KCRA 3 News.
So, Maricela, do we know how many homes or other structures were damaged?
You know, at this time we did ask at CAL FIRE about that. We know from that one man that we spoke with that his one of his cars burned, one of his sheds also burned, but we haven't been able to get confirmation on exactly structures that have been damaged or burned. They told me that it's still too early to start assessing that kind of damage because, again, they're still trying to go into areas to extinguish those flames, but they are going to hopefully start that soon, and they'll give us some updated numbers on that.
All right, understood. Thanks so much. And here's a look at the evacuation areas here in this area. It's between Vallecito and Murphy's, west of Highway 4, south of Murphy's, and it largely runs along 6 Mile Road under evacuation orders, and this includes the Ironstone Amphitheater, which is standing. Some of the surrounding areas in Vallecito, La Honda Park, and Rocky Hill, those are the areas in yellow. They're under evacuation warnings. A shelter is open at Bret Harte High School and Angels Camp on Murphy's Grade Road, and they are accepting pets. Livestock can go to the Calaveras County Fairgrounds on Frogtown Road.
These fires, along with another fire in Fresno County, are leading to some really smoky skies across Northern California. Livecopter 3 captured this shot from above the smoke earlier today. It was really just a blanket of white smoke. Meteorologist Heather Waldman has more on the fires and also the impact on our air quality. Heather?
Yeah, two sides to the coin with seeing the smoke laying low to the ground like that. Good thing is it means the fires there are not getting enough oxygen. We're not seeing as much fire activity, and that's true this afternoon. But of course, the other side is that the air quality just hasn't been good in parts of the foothills. But let's go around the region here. We'll start with the fire in Calaveras County. This is a screenshot I took looking towards where the fire was burning yesterday, and you can see a lot of smoke, a lot of haze hanging in the air, but nothing that's freshly burning from today. Same idea with the fire burning closer to Tuolumne County in Chinese Camp. Smoke still hanging in the air this afternoon, but no new smoke really being generated by the fire this afternoon. Finally, the Garnet fire. This is the one that's really been problematic over the last really couple of days. It was very active yesterday. This is in eastern Fresno County. It is still putting up quite a bit of smoke here this afternoon. So let's check out the air quality. We're starting in Tuolumne County. Each of these dots here is an air quality sensor looking for smoke particles, and you can see that anywhere we have these red dots around Sonora and Groveland, that's where the air quality is at an unhealthy level for anybody that's going to be outside for long periods of time. You go up into Amador County. This is Volcano, Sutter Creek, Jackson, McCullum Hill. You're looking at haze, but air quality overall is doing just fine. Same thing up into El Dorado and Placer County. We are seeing some of these yellow and orange dots representing air quality kind of in that moderate range. For most people, that's not going to cause any issues if you have any outdoor plans. And our model here shows smoke kind of hanging from Tuolumne County on southward tonight and into tomorrow morning. Once we get beyond tomorrow, the amount of smoke we have in the air is just going to depend on how active these fires are. But for tomorrow, plan on poor air quality along Highway 49 and farther up the hill from Tuolumne County on southward. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Heather. Make sure you download the KCRA 3 app to keep track of these fires. We've got information on evacuations, where evacuees should go, the shelters that are open, maybe what to do with your livestock, how this is impacting air quality. It's all on the KCRA 3 app. It's free to download. Also, you could just go to kcra.com.